Hi guys, welcome back. So England win the Six Nations 2021, but it was very tight. 10-6. France will be gutted. They had the best of a lot of this game, but England got it done. Congratulations to them. Let's have a look at the game and see some of the themes that came up, because there were some really interesting things going in. So the first kind of 5 minutes really was all about France. Clearly, they were incredibly physical and they were demolishing England in the scrum. And when I say demolish, absolutely wiping the floor with them. In commentary, I think one of them said that it wasn't a concern at that point. For me, it was absolutely a concern, because when your scrum gets folded up that quickly, you know you're in trouble. And we'll come back to that as well. I think there were some big selection mistakes for England. In fact, let's go through it now. I mean, in my previous video for England, I did put out their best team as I saw it. And Bryony Cleal was definitely one of those in the front row that I thought should have started easily. They started Brown. I mean, she's a good player, but for me, she's a bench player. And Bryony Cleal's the starter, and I think that showed as well. And in the second row, alongside O'Donnell has been brilliant. Who should it be? I hadn't really picked Ward at all. I thought maybe Miller-Mills would be in there. But in the end, the England coaches did solve this by moving Poppy Cleal up to second row. But still, I think there was a selection error there. In the back line, whilst we're on selection, I thought that Jones was a clear selection at 12. And they went for Harrison. Harrison's a good player, but nowhere near Jones's ability, I think. Certainly speed, creativity as well. And the one that I hadn't picked in the front row, Davis really struggled, especially at line-out time. And when Cocaine came on, she really sorted it out. So definitely 4, I think, rather major selection errors from England. 3 of which I'd picked, actually. 1 I hadn't. They did manage to rectify those by bringing their bench on. But anyway, it certainly made for a real tough first half for England. And the French forwards are really making ground. But Davis, actually, where she is very good, is her all-round play. She wins 2 vital turnovers, big tackles, saves the danger. But France are winning this physical battle, but England are just holding on. And one of the advantages England have is a big wind behind them, which is helping them get out of trouble. But not only the scrum was a mess, but also the line-out was a complete mess as well. Davis's throwing was not good in that first half. But against the run of play, England do get a penalty on 16 minutes. And a kicker as good as Scarrett normally is should be getting them. This one was a little bit harder, but she misses. But then she does miss another one a bit later on that's even worse, to be honest, right in front of the post. She absolutely should be making those. She'd be mortified by not making that. But the scrum continues to get destroyed. Even England's best ball carrier, Poppy Cleal, can't make the yards. It's not looking good. France are looking dominant, but they haven't got any points yet. And on 24 minutes after surviving that long, England get their final chance and they hit a long line out finally, but they muck up the maul. That feels like a big error. You think that playing into with the wind, they need to get some points. Not listening to the ref carefully enough. The ref was fine, but England do need to tidy that up. And then about half an hour in, Ward makes an absolute howler twice, drops the ball, then passes it back inside to a French second row who makes 30 metres up the pitch. So England are hanging in there. They're not playing well. They're losing physically. They're making mistakes when they're getting scoring positions, but they're still in the game. On half an hour again, the French step up their game even more by starting to offload with their big carries. It's looking ominous. They get a penalty to go ahead, but their kicker misses as well. So it's not a good kicking day for the goal kickers. But the collisions are huge. The intensity is high. So it's compelling, but it's not high quality. Into the end of the first half, England make a few mistakes. Make a few inroads, actually. They get a penalty to the corner, 10 metres out. They need the points. England carriers just need a little bit more pace and aggression onto the ball. The French hits are starting just to intimidate them a bit, I think. They're bracing themselves for the impact of the tackle rather than having the confidence to run through the tackle. But finally, on 39 minutes, they get an ideal position. Scrum 5 metres. They manage to win the scrum. Poppy Cleal, they get a free kick off it. Poppy Cleal gets a quick tap kick, goes within 1 metre, good carry, and finally they break through. The French get the try. It's 7-0 at half-time, very much against the run of play. England will take that all day long. So the second half starts, and I would have expected England to have made changes then, but they held on. But their scrum continues to get absolutely marmalised. But France let them off. They miss another penalty, and not a good kick. But finally they get another penalty and do score it, so it's 7-3. You know, what they deserve really for their dominance. But the French errors throughout the game just stopped them taking advantage of those periods of dominance. You'd think they'd be getting the English props into yellow card trouble, but they managed to get away with it, England. And finally, England start to turn the tide. About 50 minutes in, they're getting more momentum in attack. They're starting to run hard off 9. Riley's got a great pass on her. Rowland's 2. So when they start flowing off 9 and 10, getting beyond the gain line, they can play a really quick attacking game. But they just infringe at the ruck in a great position, so that one goes begging. And they have another good attacking position 5 minutes later, but Cocaine just runs her winger out of space. A poor short pass doesn't go to hand either. So just neither side taking advantage of good periods of play. But we've got Bryony Cleal on now. Poppy Cleal's moved to second row. They've put Hunter into 8. Cocaine's on at hooker, and it makes the world of difference. It's so much better. And also, as France start to make their changes, the French bench is not as strong as the English bench. Essentially, France are taking their best team off and England are putting their best team on. I don't know why France didn't leave those players on, because they were absolutely smashing the English, but they did, and England start to get a real upper hand here, and England start to kick a bit more cleverly. French are making mistakes in the backfield. The scrum's more solid for England. They're getting bite on their phases, getting beyond the gain line. But when they do get isolated, France are very sharp. They're swooping, they're turning the ball over. But then 2 shocking kicks in a row for England, just as they're really getting on top, really destroys a good position, puts them right back down the other end of the pitch, and they're not listening to the ref enough. So, you know, there's definitely huge things to work on for England here, but they're getting the job done. Bryony Cleal's made a massive impact. So impressed with her. Really no idea how she hasn't started, but I'm sure she will from now on, hopefully. England forwards are now dominant. They're, you know, clearing danger with their big hits, even when they're in dangerous positions. And for France, the wind's starting to tell. When they're under the pump, they just can't get distance on their clearing kicks. But they do get a penalty. And the French kicker just manages to get it in, just kissing off the post. So it's 7-6 with 10 minutes to go. You know, really is edge of your seat stuff, if not the quality's not there. But on 75 minutes, England regain possession from a really crucial charge down, win a vital penalty, kick to the corner. They know they don't need to rush. They're ahead. They wind the clock down very cleverly, win a couple of penalties, go to the corner again. Good throwing from Cocaine. And England wind down the clock, finally get a series of penalties, and they kick one. 10-6, the game ends. So England do what they need to do. The impact from the bench made a world of difference, but you've got to think a lot of those players should have been starting. France will get massive confidence from the absolute domination they had of the English pack early on, but they've got to be more clinical. Their skills have to be a bit sharper. Same with England. So both sides, positives and negatives. Are either side looking like they're going to beat New Zealand in the World Cup final at the moment? Well, not yet. They definitely need to improve. But anyway, an exciting game. I'd love to know what you think about it, and I'll catch you next time.